Hello and welcome to the...
He talks too much. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Thank you for your assessment. So I just want to write your lines. Can you please now go and read? Welcome to the show. We are back. It's been a few weeks off. And of course, what would be the show without my partner in rhyme, the Bard?
G'day, sports fans. Hello, Kingmaker. It's a pleasure to be here once again. It's been a little while since we graced the screens of the members of the league. So good to be back.
Did you like that, partner in rhyme? I just came up with that.
Mate, top shelf.
Thank you.
I really thought this was going to be the week that I would go to the bottom of the ladder, but somehow you and Stu are still finding a way to keep me off of the bottom rung, or at least Stu is anyway.
I've gone past you.
You have gone past me, yeah. We'll see for how long.
Anyway, we will get to that, I'm sure, in due course. But first, as always...
All right, well, we're going to continue the theme of like rants that you are surprised that we haven't had already. And I've been pretty chill on the overseeing the downfall of my season so far, but for whatever reason, this week was possibly my breaking point. It was pretty tough to swallow some of the continued just absolute fucking mediocrity from some of these guys. So I'm on trial this week. I'm basically just going to do a quick rundown of the top 3 players on my team that I hate the most and that I really wish I could cut. So we'll start at number 3 with Devontae Smith, who's basically turned into the second coming of Deshaun Jackson. Like on any given week, it might be 3 catches for 7 yards, or it might be 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Who the fuck knows? Absolutely zero consistency from this absolute clown.
The reaper has been reaped.
Yeah.
No longer does he sow.
Number 2, God, so many good options. I'm going to go with Javonte Williams, just because his name rhymes with Devontae. This fucking guy, man. So he has a couple of good weeks earlier in the month, and you start to think, okay, well, this is somebody that I can start. Kind of a RB3 flex type guy. Goes out last week, gets 1 carry. 1 fucking carry. They give all the work to this rookie, this Estime guy. And so I'm thinking, well, it's over. Bench him this week, and of course, he goes off for like 100 yards and a touchdown. I fucking hate this guy. I hate the Denver Broncos. This has just been like an absolutely hellish experience trying to figure out what to do with this guy.
It seems like you may have underestimated him.
Don't like that. Number 1, I don't think this guy's name also rhymes. I don't know. Maybe the C in CJ is short for like Chavonte or something. But Chavonte J. Stroud, who had this like unbelievable season last year, took him highly drafted. It was like second or third round, I think it was. And he's just been absolute dog water. Like he's just done fuck all season, dragging the chain. Really, really miserable experience having this guy. So fuck him. I wish I could drop him. And that is...
In his defense, he doesn't have an assortment of elite weapons to throw the ball to. So,
Did he last year? I mean, he did really well last year.
I'm being sarcastic. He has an elite series of weapons to throw the ball to.
I know, like seriously, the receivers have had some injuries, but this fucking team, man. I mean, the difference is, I suppose, that they've got Mixon now and he's running the ball really well. They haven't had to lead on the pass so much. But man, this sucks. I am absolutely over this season. So
Mixon has been elite, but as the Mixon owner before I traded him in the Kingmaker trade, even when he didn't play, guys like Pierce and Cam Akers were getting the runs instead. So and they weren't even any good, and they were still getting all the touches. So there's an issue there where they don't really want him being the main point of the offense.
Anyway, so
that's the court for this week.
That is the court.
Now, I've changed up the format slightly, and we're cutting some segments, keeping it fresh, doing some new ideas, but keeping some of the good ideas. So I'm not exactly sure what comes next, but I think it is this. Hey, everybody. So this week I've got a couple of series of comments that I think was quite good. Look, the chat's been a bit quiet, like the show's been a bit quiet over the sort of midpoint of the season. I think it's firing up again and this happens every year. Like there's the midpoint where everyone's just trying to, if you're on top, you're just trying to get through and make the playoffs. If you're in the bottom, you're just like counting the days so you can get out of this fucking shit. And in the middle, you're just sort of like, you're not excited, but now everyone's looking at the home stretch and people are getting a bit fired up again. And there was a couple of good series of chats in here. I thought this first one was great. Kurt had said that Mason's season is officially over. Jono said it's never over when you are a CMC's backup, but it is for me. Then Stu went and blew $20 on Jordan Mason. And then Jono once again says Jordan Mason season. You made a great comment. Can't wait for him to drop 30 points on me in the Ringo Bowl. And then Stu with a real nice like boomer comment about CMC being as reliable as a Nigerian bank account. Like, I don't know if Stu got scammed by a Nigerian prince at one point, but it's just such a like an old school reference.
Nothing fresher than Stu's cultural touch points, is there?
I thought that was worthy of a comment. This series was also really good. Jono's flexing his 100-meter time and then sort of like said it wasn't very good, but he's happy. And you put your time up just to flex on him. And then I gave a little callback to the old benching saga of last year. And you had a great little throwback to when I said, what can you bench? And you said, I'd like to bench my whole fantasy team. A great little series of one-liners there that I enjoyed.
I really would
but
like to bench
the comment of the week has to go to the smug father, the smug off that the top two teams are having. Kurt with his happy birthday factor for your special day. Your big present is a big loss on the bonus point. And Johnny Smuggy just came back with thanks. I might be upset if I needed.
We're setting up a good like Heron Bowl preview between these two, aren't we?
I don't know which of them I would want to win. I'd have no.
No matter what the outcome, would be bad for the league, I think.
I guess Carter, because he's only won one, but that was 2 years ago. Kurt's been a while. Do we really need Kurt winning 5 of these things?
No, I mean Carter's been a real joke this year, but it's still a more palatable option than us having to rename the quad father again.
Well, he's just the smug father now, right? So we don't actually need to change it. The name has changed. So the next segment, wasn't going to have it, but there's a bit going on. In the fab this week in the waivers, and by a bit going on, I mean people just wasting absurd amounts of money on nonsense decisions because they've all got fat wallets they didn't spend at the start of the season.
Dummy gutlets, dummy gutlets.
$64.
This feels exactly like me blowing a massive load on Joe Flacco when they announced that he'd be the starter for the rest of the season, and he lasted 2 weeks. We all know Daniel Jones is going to be back.
Yeah, it's a crazy move from the coin. Jared throwing $25 at Jonas because he got 2 touchdowns 1 week. Maybe it's because Jared has him in the team name. I don't know if Jared had him in the team name before and then dropped him and was desperate to get him back for that team continuity. Not sure there. $9 on a really fucking average kicker in Jason Sanders from Chips. Kurt's still wasting money on defenses. If I was you, Kurt, I'd save that money for the end of the season. And James has just given up on Rome Odunze. Just given up.
Long overdue.
The aforementioned Audric Estime lasted 1 week in Carter's team, but I thought this one here was a fantastic. Obviously, $0 on a kicker, a tight end replacement is nothing. But Dalton Kincaid is one of these guys that you drafted high, high relative for a tight end. You had high hopes for. Everyone had high hopes for coming into the season. He was going to be Josh Allen's number one weapon with Stefan Diggs having left and that other Muppet having gone to Jacksonville, Gabe Davis. So this is just this I think right here is the epitome of your season right here.
He was pretty underwhelming, and now he's perpetually injured. So I got no reason to keep him on the roster.
I'm not saying it's a poor decision. I'm just saying I think it's indicative of the broader challenges you've had this season.
Thank you. By the way, somebody should drop a few bucks on Audric Estime, because if the trend continues, he will get 55 carries this week.
So now you're overestimating him.
Look, this didn't work when Carter did it, and it's not working now.
When did Carter do it?
Daphne, can we cut this out of the show, please?
Okay. The next segment is the old winners and losers segment. We're doing it differently. We managed to, in the first 6 weeks of the season, actually go through everyone's teams. And we don't need to go through a winner and loser every week anymore. I don't think that has any real relevance. But what is relevant is matchups and how they drive us towards the playoffs. I think it's particularly noticeable when we have 4 teams. We have 8 teams that are genuinely in contention, 2 that are maybe at risk of falling out, and 4 teams that just have zero chance. Even if we won, even if you, me, Stu James won every game we played and got the bonus point, I still don't think we're going to make the playoffs, right? So
what a fall from grace for the coin. He was up and about mid-season.
Well, he had a very unlucky week this week, that's for certain. But
yeah.
So the first group of people we're going to look at is the matchups where you have people hoping to be in contention against those that just want to see their league mates burn. Bit of reference here, because some men aren't looking for anything logical like the Super Bowl, Heron Bowl. They can't be bought, bullied, or reasoned. Some men just want to watch their league mates burn. And we actually have 4 of these matchups this week, which is quite exciting. I could destroy Jared's dream, which I actually feel a bit bad about because Jared's the only person I actually want to win the championship.
You should take a loss this week, I think.
Yeah, let's throw it. James could affect the quad father. That'd be good value. I got him this week. Imagine if he loses to me and then James 2 weeks in a row. How could he possibly be smug about that? Well, I didn't beat him, but I almost beat him. We've got Stu taking on Jono, looking to crush some dreams. And yourself could put an end to Tyson's season with a big win here.
I mean, my team's not that good to start with them. Half of them are on bye this week, so it would be nothing short of an absolute miracle if I was to beat Tyson this week. So keep an eye out for that.
Then we have 2 matchups that are between contenders, so very important, almost like a 2-way, a 2-point victory sort of situation where if you win,
marquee matchups, if you will, Chris.
Marquee matchups, and we got this one against the 13-9 and Andrew and the 13-9 Tex.
Oh yeah, I love this.
Well, I was loving it, and then I was looking at Andrew's team. Bye. He's already dead.
The former commissioner was actually texting me about this earlier, pointing out that Andrew's in a bit of strife this week. And yeah, I said to him, look, this has been a problem for a while for him on the Saints bye week every year because he generally goes pretty hard on the hometown favourites. So
Tex does have Josh Allen on bye, but that's about it. So you'd have to say
this is going to be like an 85-76 game, I think.
Yeah, so I can see Tex pulling one of these off for this week. So we have an actual matchup that is in contention. Also happens to be the belt matchup.
Hey, this is a good one.
A good photo of Johnny as he appreciating his belt there. Much love. Giving a hug. He doesn't even hug his kids like that. Look at that hug. Look at that. Silent contemplation.
Let's get ready to rumble!
That sound grab really goes on, doesn't it?
It does. We've got multiple time league champions here. Both have held the cummerbund a lot of times. In fact, Matt Brown has held it more times than anyone. He's a 9 times holder. 17 weeks cumulative for Factor. Matt Brown on 18 weeks. So Carter can bring into that sector if he comes in. And neither of these, this is a big matchup, not really for Carter, but Matt Brown is sitting outside the playoffs at the moment. And he's going to lose to me in the last week. Like he is heavily reliant on a number of teams that are on bye in the last week. So he needs to start accumulating some wins. And here he's going against the Steamroller. And it could be a very important matchup for him. He's not sitting on a lot of buys, and it looks like Carter is starting Caleb Williams. What's going on there? Where is the buy situation?
I mean, he doesn't have a lot of great options at quarterback, does he? That's kind of the one weakness of his team.
We've got is Hubbard about to lose his job? Is that a bad moment for Matt Brown? Is Brooks finally getting at the start? I think he is.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, so Carter has got Kirk Cousins on bye. He could speculatively play Taysom Hill, but he's on bye as well. But none of these are good options. He's actually I think by his own admission, quarterback is the one sort of glaring weakness of his otherwise pretty untouchable roster, right? So this would be a good test.
We look at the next slide. Bo Nix has been quite the surprise packet, you'd have to say.
Well, so you characterized him as having been, good for fantasy. He's actually been really good in real life as well. The Broncos are on a real tear. So.
Yeah. It's been a great pickup for anyone that had him.
There's like offensive rookie of the year talk with him now that he might dislodge Jaden Daniels, who's on a bit of a downward slide. Yeah.
So anyway, I think this could be a really interesting matchup, and it honestly is a bit of a make or break for Matt Brown because, as I said, he's got a very difficult matchup buys-wise against me in the last round, and I don't really have my team's shit, but I don't really want to buy. Like he loses Lamar Jackson and a couple of other key players that week, so he needs to bank this win, and Carter doesn't really have anything on the buy himself, so he remains in a very strong position. Do you think that Matt Brown can get the belt back here, or do you think it's going to be another steamroller moment?
I think he can. I think it's going to be a tough ask. I'm sure that Johnny Underdog is in trade negotiations trying to improve his quarterback situation. He would have to be, and so yeah, we could see some changes to the starting lineup before we hit Monday morning. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Here's a question: where is the belt? Are we actually going to give it to Matt Brown if he wins this week? Like, what is the current status? Is it still lost in Texland?
According to Tex, he has made active efforts to try and deliver it to people, and I believe him because if he hadn't have done that, he would just fucking tell me that. And he would have no qualms in saying he can't be fucked with it. So I believe him 100% that he's tried to deliver it.
How's he not given it to Johnny Underdog? They both work in town. How fucking hard could it be?
I asked Carter, I said if Carter's got the belt, and he said he was going to pick it up, and then some shit happened. I don't know. I'm very disappointed with everyone about this year. Next year, I need to get the belt back in my hands, and I can deliver it to people like I've done in 4 years. Take the custody.
Or you'll send it in an Uber, or you'll send a paralegal out to deliver it.
I could send a junior lawyer out to do it.
Great use of company resources.
Well, sometimes it's good for their fitness. Well, that's about it. We've already got the song to go, but a bit of a shorter show, but a different format as we run into the end of the season. I think that's appropriate. I will task you with, in the last week, doing your fabulous little color-coded tabulature for the week. We get prepped for that.
What are you talking about?
The show before playoffs last year, you did a whole thing about the numbers and who had to do what and what to make the final.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, we'll see. I mean, it might be really close, and we might need to do some advanced algorithms to figure it out, or it might be a foregone conclusion. That the way it's looking, it's probably going to go down to the last week of the regular season, which is really exciting. So yeah, I'll do some charts and graphs for you, CK. No worries.
Wonderful. For that last round, we can keep with this format before. But now we're going to go on to the theme music. I had to whip this one up really quickly. I've got them all organized, of course, but I hadn't downloaded it. So that's why we started the show a bit late. This week, we're going with the Coins music.
Streets are full of history. Yesterday's too long ago. Don't agree with what I know. Tomorrow got no place to be. I see the line in the sand. Time to find out who I am. Looking back to see where I stand. Evolution. See my reflection change. Nothing ever stays the same. But you know the name's the game. We all know what it means. Nothing's ever what it seems. Unforgiven, unforeseen. I see the line in the sand. Time to find out who I am. Looking back to see.
What do you think?
I think you're going to have to explain this one to me.
I just figure, like, you know, he's the coin, he's the 50-50. That's the line in the sand. It cuts right down the middle. And yeah, which side is he going to be on? I don't know. Who knows? You look in the past, look in the present. But will he be in the middle, and which side of the coin, which side of the line of the sand?
Interesting. This is not the first time that Lemmy and Co have appeared on this segment, is it?
No, this was also this song was for a group called Evolution, which was headed up by Triple H, and the previous song was Triple H's song. So Motorhead just like making songs for Triple H.
I've been working my way through the Vince McMahon Netflix documentary. I haven't gotten that far yet though, so
that's a funny little one because, you know, like apparently it was originally going to be a puff piece, and then all the shit came out about him, and the Netflix completely took all of his sound bites and spun it into like a critical documentary.
yeah, I've actually been enjoying it. Yeah,
He's an interesting cat. Yeah, look, it's not the best song choice, but you know, there's only so many options I've got for these things. But I have some more good ones coming up. Don't you worry. There's still 4 people to go, I believe. So if we haven't been done, look forward to that. And otherwise, that's about all for this week. But I think that's a good show. Sharp, short, and complete.
all right. Well, best of luck to everyone this week. Be watching with great interest. Kurt will be on the Sleeper app, giving his live hot takes every 3.5 minutes while the games are on, which everyone enjoys. And we will get into it.
I thought it was a real chance of beating him this week. I was so disappointed.
I think a lot of us were, mate.
Like, you know, you see, I didn't even have a valid lineup to start the week. I wanted to. They want to drop. I was so many players on bye that I didn't want to drop anyone, so I held out the kicker into the last possible moment, and then I saw that I had a chance to beat him, so I dropped someone for that kicker. Denver kicker, you know, big high in the sky kicks. Thought he'd get good points. He did. I thought the Texans were going to tower up Cooper Rush. They fucking did. Yet, you know, somehow CeeDee Lamb got enough catches to get him over the line. It was very disappointing.
Now, before we end, actually, it would be remiss of us not to talk about the incredibly high-scoring game we had, which
yes.
I think Matt Brown legitimately asked the question of, like, was this the highest score in a loss ever? Which I don't know the answer to. I don't know if that's one of the stats that we've been tracking on the.
No, I would have to go. I think I'd have to go back and check that stat. And unfortunately, Skynet is not sophisticated enough just to find it out for us, which is quite annoying.
Yeah, so we do have a league records page, but it doesn't have like highest score in a loss. So if I ever find myself with a spare hour or so to trawl back through the history, I'll add that in and figure it out, because I think this week would have been a contender. That was an unreal matchup.
If we do look at it, will tell you the highest score ever, I believe, in this league.
Yeah, which is like 206 points or something.
Well, what did James score this week?
Good question.
Here it is. Yes. So since we joined Sleeper, so we'd need to go back to check the ESPN records. But since we joined Sleeper, that score was the 7th highest score we've had. James's score.
Okay. My commitment before the end of the season, I will figure out what is the highest ever score in a loss and the lowest ever score in a win, and I'll add them in to the records
Actually,
page.
I must apologise. It's not in the top 10. James had another score earlier this year, which was number 7. How could this guy have had 2 of the highest scores of the year and be down in the? Actually, I was going to mention this again. Thank you for reminding me, Bart. James must be hating that we got rid of the points for wild card, because he would be, I think, in a comfortable fourth place on points scored if we still had that wild card.
If that was Kurt and not James, this would be the biggest controversy in league history. It'd be every day be bringing up what a bullshit rule change this was and how it's robbed him of a championship.
James likes to take it as it comes. He can handle the line there. But yeah, it's a bit of an unfortunate one for James there. Last year it all worked out very well with the extra point and all sort of balanced out. And this year we're seeing perhaps a slight anomaly in the system.
Yep, 167.5 points is what he scored. I do not remember. I will say I don't remember anybody ever losing with 167 points. But I will confirm for the punters out there.
We would need to go back to the ESPN, but we'll go find that out. I think it's a good question, an important stat, and a real kick in the balls for James.
It's a record that I would love for James to hold. So I'm going to invest some time in trying to hand it to him.
I think it suits him. It suits the coin, suits his song. And until then, we'll find that set. Maybe we'll find it this week if I get a lull. But otherwise, we'll be back next week with all of the exciting coverage, and I'm sure many more comments to talk about Kurt's behaviour and the smugness of our current league leader.
Thank you, Kingmaker.
Thank you, Bart.